Hey everyone, welcome to How to Rank It. This is a show where we take a genre or subgenre of movies, watch them in order, and rank them by a certain set of criteria. Each month we add another movie into the pile of compared movies, and eventually we end up with a nice list of the best, worst, and meh movies. Have you ever wondered which Disney movie is best, which Pixar movie is the most beautiful, or which Wiseau movie makes the most sense?
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
Then this channel might just be for you. One way or another, hit that subscribe button and decide over the next couple months whether or not you like this idea. Come and join the fun. Right now we are ranking every Disney movie in order and deciding which one is the best using the SMACT system, which is a very pretentious way of saying we're judging these movies on storyline, music, animation, character, and technology. Come and join us and let's get ranking together. Today we're starting with the best folly ever made, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Before we get started, please let me know in the comments what you think about Snow White. Surely we all watched it as children. What is your first memory of it? We read. Walt, show, don't tell, and certainly don't make me read. I'm illiterate, that's why I watch movies. The mirror reveals that Snow White is the most beautiful. Really, I'm all about beauty being in the eye of the beholder, but she looks like a potato with a wig. Snow White needs a prince, obviously. We see this prince, who is comprised of an 8-year-old face on a 15-year-old body, ravishing us with his 40-year-old voice.
Now that I've found you.
And Snow White melts under his innocent gaze. But let's be honest, Snow White only needs one thing.
Show me the money.
Queen hates Snow White and plans for her murder. It couldn't be more obvious. She hates her for her beauty. Snow White escapes the huntsman and runs. Snow White is afraid of literally everything in the forest. She finds a house and cleans it. Obviously, a woman is completely helpless in the forest and is most at home when she can clean. It doesn't matter if the home what needs cleaning is her own home. Clearly, home is where the mess is. I mean, to be fair, that is my worldview. It's even better if you're cleaning for 7 men who are either over 40 or hipsters. I don't know, you decide. We introduce the dwarves. Snow White goes to sleep next to the big pile of nasty underwear that Grumpy has thrown next to the bed. 10 minutes of waking up Snow White. Snow White wakes up. 10 minutes of washing faces. Evil Queen finally finds the plot. But I wonder, if you can look however you want, why do you want to look like that? I mean, what does it accomplish? At least make the old woman look innocent. Ain't no way I'm taking an apple from that witch. I don't know. Maybe we only find snaggle-tooth old women with huge warts unappealing because this movie taught us they were unappealing. I suppose I've read worse takes on Tumblr. 10 minutes of dancing. Because plot development is for suckers. Why do the dwarves even trust this girl? For all they know, she could be a thief or a woman of ill repute. Snow White kisses the dwarves and we finally get a hint of a character arc from Grumpy. Scariest scene ever made. Tension builds to eating the apple. Snow White dies. The funeral. This scene can be used to desensitize Nazis. If you watch this scene without a tear in your eye, you might be a monster. Just saying, it's possible. And Snow White ascends to the clouds with the prince. So what? The clouds of heaven are a representation of the bliss of married sex? Or they don't get married? Or are they living in sin? Or is she dead? And why did she leave the creepy old men who she now trusts, only to go with the creepy young man who can't make an entrance without scaring the crap out of someone? Does this movie make any sense? Anyone? Anyone. No, it doesn't make sense, but that's part of the genius of it. It's a story driven fully by emotion, which is pretty fascinating, and it's the whole reason why this story holds up at all. It's a simple plot, probably too simple, but no one had seen anything like this in 1937. There was very little of film shorthand that we see today. In fact, this movie originated many of the tropes we recognize today in modern fairy tales. I have to say that I enjoyed the second half of this movie after the plot got rolling far more than I remembered. However, if the plot was in a new movie today, it would certainly not be revolutionary, and really, it would not be good. It's a plot full of filler, gags, and poorly executed emotional appeal, but surprisingly, that emotionality legitimately works. This movie doesn't give you what your head knows would be logical, it gives you what your heart wants to see happen, and that really doesn't lessen this movie overall. If Walt Disney understood anything while making this movie, it was how to make us feel. Those feelings are what make us keep returning to this movie even today. When this movie was released, there was nothing else to compare it to though, so Snow White begins its comparative journey as the #1 film for storyline so far. Spoiler! Snow White has no competition this week, so it will be #1 in every category. If you want some thrilling comparisons, come back in 2 weeks. I would say the score is wonderfully produced. The feel of the music definitely outlines the emotion of the spectator, especially the scenes surrounding the evil queen. Disney seemed to have a way with throwing a lot of interest and excitement at his most evil characters in the early days. However, I cannot say the same for the voice-led songs. The songs themselves are fine, but I am not a fan of the voice work. It's confusing, to say the least. It doesn't help that Snow White is ambiguously both a 13-year-old child and a 27-year-old woman. Overall, the music is wonderfully classic, but the voice work is definitely a product of the times. Regardless, at least for 1 week, Snow White is hands down the best movie for music. Remember how I said Walt Disney used to put a lot of time and energy into creating his villains? The evil queen seems to be the originator of that trope. She is beautiful and scary in the same frame, but to compare her with Snow White and the prince, all I see is potatoes. However, to the animator's credit, Snow White is used well and is placed in fascinating locations. The dwarves are created very well. They all look pretty similar, a beard except for Dopey, a big nose, and a bald head. However, despite their similarities, they all look distinct at first glance. And as they move, their facial features cement their differentiation even more. In this case, it's the facial expressions that really make these characters stand out. Scenes including movement from one point of view to another are incredibly well done also. I love how the backgrounds move at a different speed and a different focus than that of the foreground. We will hear more about that though in technology. Once again, Snow White comes in first place for animation this week. My biggest beef with this movie is its character development, meaning its character development is almost zero. Think about what we know about these characters. Snow White wants a man, the prince just wants to sing.
Rather, just
The dwarves are solely defined by their names. None of the protagonist characters have any subtleties or character arcs except for maybe Grumpy, who has a bit of complexity, I guess. The story doesn't delve at all into the motivations or complexities of any of these characters. Instead, Disney's animators were too enamored with waking up Snow White or having her dance or washing faces or cleaning a house our protagonist doesn't even live in. The Queen, on the other hand, is very motivated. As a matter of fact, she's the only character that cares at all to get the plot going. All other characters are happy doing inane things. We don't get any development or forward movement until the Queen wills it. And that's my big problem with this content. There's a subtext here that seems to say women who are proactive
are evil.
How dare a woman have a motivation other than to clean whatever living space she inhabits? I mean, Snow White even goes so far as to apologize for the intense, scarring drama she has just endured. She falls on the ground and, in an immediate change of heart, she says,
"I'm so ashamed of the fuss I've made."
The implications of this are far deeper than I could or want to go in a 12-minute video. Let's just say things are changing. We live in a very different world today. As I said before, this is a movie filled with filler. There are a lot of cute scenes, and those scenes were great at the time for the purpose of showing off this new animation ability. But this movie does not create characters, it really favors gags over character development, but that doesn't mean it's not deserving of the #1 spot this week. The multiplane techniques used in this movie are amazing all around. Walt Disney created and pioneered the multiplane camera. Without this technique, all surfaces would look flat and all items on the page would move at one speed. Instead, he was able to use this technique to make it look like different levels were moving at different speeds from the other layers. It gives a three-dimensional world effect even on a flat surface. This effect was also used to create some incredibly creative moments. The Queen's changing scene is one example of how this technology was used to stunning effect. And once again, it's number one in technology. I know, you totally didn't see that coming. Technology is a different category. It's the equalizer. Its purpose is to help us compare each movie to its relative time and technology available. There were absolutely no full-length animated features before Snow White, at least not in America. There were no animation samples, no well-animated humans, and no multiplane cameras used before this movie. If there were no Snow White, we can ask ourselves what would have happened to animation. Would there be CGI or even Disneyland? I don't want to think about it. A world without Disneyland is just too dystopian for me. I'm very thankful this movie exists, and from where I'm sitting, Snow White will not leave this perch, at least not for a long time. This week, Snow White receives first place for technology. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Fort Wayne is obviously named because it started as a fort. Today there is a replica of that original fort to remind us how our city started. That fort is much like Snow White. It's no longer the innovative wonder that it was originally, but it's amazing as a reference from history. It reminds us of where animation started, how far it has come, and how limitless its potential still stands. It's obviously still a classic. No ranking I could possibly give it would change that. I give Snow White first place overall for this week. Hey guys, thanks for joining. Like I said, this is the first video in a long line of Disney movie critiques coming out for you. If you found this video intriguing or fun, or if you just want to be nice to me, please slap that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please press that red subscribe button right down there in the corner. Just so you know, YouTube makes me say that. If I don't, they'll take away my Disney movie privileges. Google has all the power. For real though, my Pinocchio review will be released 2 weeks from today, and if you are subscribed and smack that bell, you'll be notified as soon as it's released on Friday night. I'm so happy you came along for the first outing of how to rank it, and I can't wait to see you again soon.